We got some more educational lists, bruh. 10 hardest hitting linebackers in NFL history. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, bruh. Let's check it out.
Linebacker is a special position, reserved for the leaders of the defense, the heart and soul. But maybe,
in my opinion, I feel like linebacker is the most fun position on the field, bro.
Even more importantly, the absolute psychos who never turn down contact. So, get out your cowboy collars, because these are the 10 hardest hitting linebackers in NFL history. Starting with Patrick Willis, a guy who could have been higher on this list had he played longer. But despite having an injury-shortened career, in the time that he was on the field, he absolutely wrecked guys. In 2007, as a rookie on the 49ers, he led the NFL in tackles. Then, in 2009, he did it again. But he wasn't satisfied with just making tackles.
I'll be one of the best linebackers to ever play this game.
He wanted to blow players up. Willis said,
"My mentality when I'm going against anyone is be the hammer, not the nail."
And when he nailed an opponent, the entire stadium could feel it. In a 2009 game against the Jets, Willis was blocked to the ground late in the second half. So when he spotted receiver Brad Smith running across the middle, he was ready to get revenge. Just as Smith was being tackled from behind, Willis delivered a ferocious hit.
What a hit. Look out. Brad Smith. My goodness.
The blow folded.
Bro, look at this nigga build, bro.
Smith's upper body backward like a lawn chair, knocking him out of the game. Willis told ESPN, "You get angry, you get mad, you just go and just put it all on someone else." And sometimes that means hitting a guy so hard his mouthpiece comes out, which is what Willis did to Giants fullback Henry Hynoski in the 2011 NFC title game. Willis's special ability as a tackler helped him become a 5-time All-Pro and Hall of Famer in just 8 seasons. And his destructive power was fine-tuned by the coaching of another tackling machine, Mike Singletary, who was all about toughness, desire, and leadership. As a player, Singletary patrolled the middle of the field with wild-eyed passion. The broadcast loved zooming in on his maniacal expressions. And when you see that looking at you from across the line of scrimmage, even the greats
he looked insane.
Like Hall of Fame running back Eric Dickerson, who thought, this guy's going to kill somebody. But Singletary actually played under control. You can't be the centerpiece on one of the best defenses of all time, the '85 Bears, and not have discipline and smarts. He said his eyes got big because he was trying to read the offense, and knowing what was coming allowed him to hit people hard. So hard that every time Singletary would make a tackle, he would scream or make a wild noise, which earned him the nickname Samurai Mike. And the Samurai was on full display during the '85 NFC title game. In the second quarter, the Rams had a 3rd and 1 at midfield. Singletary got through the line and stood up Dickerson in the backfield for no gain. After that play, the Rams were done, and the Bears were on to the Super Bowl. But the Bears knew what they had in Singletary from the very beginning, because in Week 10 of his rookie season, when the Bears played the Chiefs, Singletary was assigned to stop one of the top running backs in the NFL, Joe Delaney. And he didn't just stop Delaney.
Bro, look at it.
To stop one of the top running backs in...
Yo, this helmet is fucking crazy to me, bro. I would not play. He gonna get murdered with this shit.
The NFL, Joe Delaney. And he didn't just stop Delaney, he destroyed him. Singletary met him in the hole, took him off his feet, and slammed him to the turf. Teammate Dan Hampton said,
"It sounded like a gunshot because Mike squared him up and knocked the living hell out of him."
And just like that, Chicago had their middle linebacker for the next decade. Singletary is a legend of the NFC North, which during his time was known as the NFC Central, or the Black and Blue Division, for its fierce rivalries and bruising matchups. So it's only right we now mention one of the division's founding fathers, Ray
Bro, who is this?
who, like most middle linebackers of the 1960s, was a bruiser with a nasty disposition. His nickname was simply Wild Man, for obvious reasons. And no one from the Bears, Vikings, or Lions was safe when they faced Nitschke and the Packers.
Bro, this motherfucker is huge.
One hit at a time, saying you want them to be a little shy and a little shyer the next time. You want them to remember you're in there. The Packers built a legendary defense in the 60s, with Nitschke as the unquestioned leader. During Super Bowl II, he set the tone on the game's first play, when he sent the Raiders' Hewitt Dixon cartwheeling through the air with a tackle. Nitschke only knew one way to play, and that was all out. That meant he was a terror on the practice field, too.
Didn't matter if you were in shorts and T-shirts, you always buckled your hat when you went close to Raymond, because he was going to hit you.
His teammate Jerry Kramer said. Nitschke would have enjoyed watching a relentless punisher like Junior Seau smash opponents to pieces. And that's exactly what Seau did for 20 years in the NFL. He was fearless against blockers and ball carriers at the point of attack. He didn't just wreak havoc on a blitz or in short yardage either. You weren't safe from Seau 50 yards downfield field. In 1991, the Chargers were playing the Seahawks. Seattle's Tommy Kane caught a long pass and then tried to run for more yards when a hustling Seau caught up to him. And he went limp once I hit him, Seau said. Of course, Seau's body paid a heavy price for the way he played.
When you put on a good hit, it hurts you too.
A few years before he left the game, he knew his post-playing days would be rough. When we're 50, 40 years old, we probably won't be able to walk, he said. And despite that, he always played with fearlessness and passion, which made him one of the most well-respected players to ever lace him up. But Bill Romanowski didn't receive much respect from his colleagues around the league because while he was a master disruptor, Romanowski often used the dark arts to do so.
I was upset at Romanowski, not because he was white and spit in a black guy's face, because he disrespected another man.
Like breaking Kerry Collins' jaw, spitting in J.J. Stokes' face.
Oh, no, bro. Nah, bro, I don't like that shit, bro.
More cheap shots than we can even count. But that doesn't mean he wasn't a force when he was between the lines.
Nah, you a weirdo, bro.
In the 1998 AFC Championship game, when he rocked Jets running back Curtis Martin in the open field.
Spit
or
in
the
the
1996
face?
game, when he put the Vikings' Leroy Horde to sleep. And he had no mercy on quarterbacks either, like when he decked Chris Chandler to stop a Falcons drive in Super Bowl 33. A lot of times, what really matters is how hard you hit him, Romanowski said. He claims that his career reached a turning point when 49ers teammate Ronnie Lott called him out for being soft. Romanowski took Lott's words to heart, and from that point on, he played with an edge. He was going to hit everyone, legally or not. And while Romanowski went way over to the dark side, James Harrison definitely towed the line of being a villain as well. Harrison had a mean streak, and he channeled a lot of rage, starting with his rough childhood, then being undrafted out of college, then getting cut 4 times, then not starting until he was 29. Yeah, a lot of people had to pay, including Ed Reed. Back in 2007, Harrison was playing on defense and special teams in a Monday night game against the Ravens when he jacked up Reed on a punt return, forcing a fumble. It was part of a huge night for Harrison where he had 3.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 10 total tackles.
Man, what a beautiful game.
After that, he was officially a star. But even once he became a household name, he still played with the same rage and passion that got him there. My objective in tackling someone was to put them out of that game, he said. I didn't want to injure them, but I wanted them to hurt and not be able to finish that game. And that's exactly what he did in a 2010 game against the rival Rams. First, he lined up a defenseless Josh Cribbs, his college teammate at Kent State, and put the crown of his helmet right into the side of his head.
That's dirty,
then
bro.
He launched himself at Mohamed Massaquoi and connected. At the time, the league was trying to make the game safer, so they decided to punish Harrison for the hit on Massaquoi. And since he was deemed a repeat offender, they fined him $75,000. Harrison said, "If I had known they were going to fine me $75,000, I would have tried to kill him." But he still didn't learn his lesson, or maybe he just loved tormenting the Browns, because in 2011, he cleaned Cleveland QB Colt McCoy's clock too. But we can't talk about Steeler enforcers without mentioning Jack Lambert, who could scare opponents just by looking at him.
Hell
John
no.
Elway had to face Lambert's Steelers in the first game of his career and said,
Jack Lambert, he's got no teeth. He's slobbering. And I was like, you know, if Andy M was there and I could click my heels and get me out of here, I'd have got out of there.
But Lambert had the game to go along with his looks, and his play style earned him the name Dracula in cleats. Lambert once said, "I believe the game is designed to reward the ones who hit the hardest." As a rookie in 1974, he started at middle linebacker for the Steel Curtain defense, and in his very first game, he crushed the Colts with a goal line stand, and then by flattening receiver Glenn Doughty. That game launched an 11-year reign of terror. But the hit that people outside Pittsburgh remember him for wasn't even during a live play. It was Lambert slinging the Cowboys' Cliff Harris to the turf in Super Bowl X, after Harris taunted the Steelers' kicker for missing a field goal. He truly embodied what it meant to be a Steeler in the 70s and 80s, and led the team to 4 Super Bowl victories in 6 seasons. But every legendary defense has a player who's the unit's heart and soul. The Steel Curtain had Lambert, and the Big Blue Wrecking Crew had Lawrence Taylor. LT had generational athletic ability. His speed, power, and insane mentality made him unblockable. Taylor was like a missile, stationed on the edge of the Giants' 3-4 defense. Once he was locked on his target, he almost always brought the pain. And normally, his target was the other team's quarterback. Like
Damn.
former Eagles QB Ron Jaworski, who said he dominated the league for 10 years. Best defensive player I've ever seen. LT had 12.5 sacks against Jaws alone, and he held nothing back on those hits. Unfortunately, one quarterback who felt Taylor's wrath was never able to play another down again. In a Monday Night Football game in 1985, he flew off the edge, wrapping up Washington's quarterback Joe Theismann in the backfield and snapped Theismann's leg right in two.
Right
In
off
two?
my right ear, I heard this pow pow.
An injury so brutal that LT himself refuses to ever watch the replay. Taylor was such a menace off the edge that he changed what it meant to be an outside linebacker. Prior to LT, a blitzing linebacker wasn't a worry. It was dealt with by simply keeping a running back in to help pick up the extra pressure. But after years of Taylor blowing up plays and quarterbacks alike, not only were teams assigning an offensive lineman to block him, he made the quarterback's blindside tackle position one of the most important in football. The contact was always the most important thing to me, LT said, and he certainly played like it, leading the Giants to 2 Super Bowl victories as well as 8 All-Pro nods and an MVP for himself. And there aren't many defensive players even on the level of Lawrence Taylor. But if anyone is, it's Ray Lewis. Whenever he was around,
Ray. I thought Ray was gonna be number one.
He always brought the punishment. Rashard Mendenhall found that out the hard way in 2008. At the time, Mendenhall was a rookie running back for the Steelers. He wanted to run over Lewis to prove himself. He caught his chance and left the field broken.
It cost me my shoulder, but I made my introduction.
Said Lewis of the collision.
What
The force
the
was
fuck?
incredible. After the play, I wasn't screaming, he's hurt. I was screaming, he's done. Mendenhall broke his scapula and missed the rest of the season. When Lewis made a hit in the open field at full speed, everything went flying. Bodies, the ball, helmets, you name it. Like when Lewis took Titans fullback Ahmad Hall's hat off in the 2009 playoffs. Or when he made the Jets' Dustin Keller go sideways in a 2010 game. Legendary quarterback Michael Vick said,
Only been afraid to play against one player in all my years of football. And that one player was Ray Lewis.
Lewis is still the NFL's all-time solo tackler with 1,568 and combined tackler with 2,059 tackles. So he left a mark on many players over the year. And I'm sure Vic isn't the only one who feels that way. But only one player struck fear in the hearts of his opponents more than Lewis.
Here's the man that you fear most in football staring you right in the face.
And that was Chicago Bears legend Dick Butkus. He was
I have no idea who this is.
The Animal because of the way he mauled opponents.
Dick was an animal. I called him a maniac, a stone maniac.
In fact, former Packers running back MacArthur Lane once said, I'd sooner go one-on-one with a grizzly bear than with Butkus. I prayed that I could get up every time Butkus hit me. For 9 seasons, he was the ultimate intimidator. He played in a much rougher era, and he was the roughest of them all. Packers legend Paul Hornung said,
He was the meanest son I've ever seen in my life play professional football.
He may have been mean, but he was a hell of a tackler. He was strong enough to grab a ball carrier, lift him off the ground while his legs were still churning, and then slam him to the ground. Or to put a shoulder into a runner and stop him dead in his tracks. At the height of his career, he said, I just want to let them know that they've been hit, and when they get up, they don't have to look to see who it was that hit them. In 1971, he delivered one of his most violent shots, a shoulder into the chest of Lions tight end Charlie Sanders.
Yeah, that nigga
said,
done.
The hit was so hard that I actually didn't feel it. I think he hit me so hard it actually numbed me. That's why Hall of Fame player Deacon Jones said of Butkus,
And every time he hit you, he tried to put you in the cemetery, not the hospital.
and hey, if you enjoyed this video, stick
Damn,
with
that's the end of the video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.